Hello everyone, it's Tana and welcome to another video for the Rabbit Hole Designs. Today we're going to be using small stamps from our stamp sets. So we're going to concentrate on using only the small images that come in a particular stamp set. Today it is the partridge cookie, at least that's what it looks like to me, from the Christmas Sweets stamp set. And also the holly and berries from the other two stamp sets. I believe one comes with the Christmas Sweets and the other comes from the Happy Holidays stamp set. So here I'm just stamping and masking. I started out by stamping out 5 whole cookies that you could see all of, because it's just supposed to look like a plate filled with cookies, but it's just the entire panel. And then I started moving it around and showing large and small amounts of the cookie. With a background like this, you can really stamp and mask any way you want. You don't even have to show all of a cookie if you don't want to. That's the great thing about doing a background like this. There's no worrying about what's in the foreground compared to what's in the background, because sometimes that gets confusing with masking. So here's the big reveal for the first panel here. Now for the second panel, I'm going with a square card. I believe I made this final card 5.5 by 5.5. And I'm taking the 2 different sized holly and berry stamps. I'm using the larger one, I'm stamping 1 on each side in the center. So top and bottom, left and right, after I trace the circle. And you can use any size circle you want. The whole point with this one is to make a wreath of holly and berries. And then I took the smaller one and stamped that in the center between each larger set and masked those off. And then put 2 more on either side of those all the way around. So it was pretty simple, this one too. And it's a nice way to use up the smaller stamps in a set that you don't really quite know what to do with. Making masked panels. And you can make a wreath, you can fill an entire background. You could do a line of them for a simple card with a sentiment stamped underneath it or above it. So there's lots of things you can do with those smaller stamps. So there's my finished product there. And now this one originally, I was going to leave it as a flat panel, just like the first one. But there was so much coloring involved, and we all know that red alcohol markers tend to bleed. So with using all those reds on the berries, I just decided to fussy cut the entire thing out, which you'll see when I'm done coloring, and just place it on another panel. And actually, I like the way it turned out because I was able to use glitter cardstock and mirrored cardstock to make it prettier. Or maybe it was 2 pieces of glitter cardstock. I can't remember, so I guess we'll see in a minute. Excuse my voice here. It's been rainy and cold off and on for like the past 3 weeks. In fact, every time we've gone camping in the past 3 weeks, it's rained at least for 1 entire full day. I know I told you guys a story in one of my recent videos on my channel, and yesterday into today was just like that for us. So we actually came home from camping a day early because it was just too much. I cannot stay inside of my camper with my children for that long of a period of time. It's just too small of a space. Plus today was Lindsay's birthday, the 17th, so it was kind of a crappy day to make her stay inside for her birthday. 15, man, I feel old. She's 15 years old now. They grow up fast. So here I'm showing you, I showed the list of the colors before I started coloring. And I'm doing them in kind of sets of 4 all the way around the leaves, or all the way around the wreath. And after I'm finished coloring them all, I do go over them with the BG07 on some of the leaves and then BG09 on alternate leaves, and I leave some of them alone and don't add a blue-green color at all. But I like to use the blue-green when it's something that leans towards Christmas, because a lot of the pine trees and stuff have a bluish green tint to them, and I like the way that turned out. It gives some depth, even though I didn't do a lot of shading in the wreath itself. I used sets of 3 in the colors, the shades, to add depth to the leaves without actually shading. So for I wanted to show you guys, Rabbit Hole Designs has some sugar-free peppermints. They are yummy. I love peppermint. So you can get those on their website. I'll put a link in the description box for you guys. So I did all the edges of the cookies first with the colors I listed on the screen for you. And then I went with the colors that I usually ice my sugar cookies when it's Christmas time and we make them. Because we make at least 200 probably sugar cookies at Christmas time. And I usually go with just the colors that are in a normal pack of food coloring. So that's what I tried to do here. And then anywhere that there did happen to be a little bit of space where I wasn't able to cover it with a cookie, I just went with my BV29 and filled that in. And as you can see, I didn't show you all the coloring there. That just would have been too much. So there are my 2 finished products for the 2 cards. Now we're going to stamp out my sentiments for the cookie card. And I cut out 2 rounded sentiment strips, and we're going to use Santa Heard You Put Out. And the second one's going to say cookies, that is. I'm using a gold embossing powder to heat emboss those and go along with the Christmas theme. And after we get those all set, we're going to start putting our card together. So I'm using some double-sided adhesive to attach that to a red card base. And I also stamped and cut out some extras, and we're going to pop those up on foam circles there. And we're also going to pop up the sentiments with some foam circles. And I just placed some, I tried to stay within the colors that I colored them. I think one of them goes over a color that it shouldn't have went over, but that's okay. And I think there's 5 total popped up on foam. And then the sentiment, I set one up in the upper left area and the second one down in the lower right. And I kind of had to work around my popped up cookies. Moving on to the second card, I cut out green glitter cardstock and cut the center out, and then I cut out a piece of gold glittered cardstock to go over that. And we're going with another red card base. I also cut out this bow from my stash, and I cut out 2 so I could pop that up, and it looks like I don't know, I was just trying to give the bow some cool dimension. Instead of just using foam tape with 1, I kind of popped it up to make it look like a double bow. And I'm taking the Joyful Greetings, and I'm only stamping out full greetings and putting the joy, which I picked up with a Christmas set that came with a die that said joy and some Christmas stamps from Michaels. And I'm using that joy die to cut out with the same green glitter cardstock I used for the little mat around the outer edge. Popped that up with 3 layers of 100-pound cardstock behind there. Stamped out my full greetings, I like saying that, in the same red as the card base, and heat set that with some gold embossing powder to match the glitter gold cardstock. Don't forget your tittle. You see me gluing that down there. And that's it, guys. I did toy with the idea of adding some popped up holly berries, but it just didn't look right. So we just went with the bow and the die cut word. Hope you enjoyed what you saw here today. Don't forget to sign up for the Rabbit Hole Designs email so you can be aware of new releases and all the inspiration that you could ever want. See you next time, guys. Bye-bye for now.